Microphone 1, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. You want me to? Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Unbelievable.
I'm working Friday on New Year's.
I'm working every one of those days, so I don't give a fuck about you. Like, I'm working New Year's Eve, New Year's, day after that, Christmas. When I disappear, I don't want nobody giving me a motherfucking call. Not a motherfucking call. People don't realize we have worked straight, no days off, from July the 24th to January 3rd. No days off. None. And then the coaching search begins. So when I'm done, and don't even call me.
When do you think the coaching search will end by?
I don't know. Depends on how much competition they got. Jamel, we should have a challenge. We should have a good challenge in there. So make sure you keep your eye out for those. It's on. It says it's on. You hear it now? Oh. Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
Page segment 2
Yep.
somehow ends up with only one question.
Okay.
Let's move some of those questions from some segment 1 to segment 2. And then segment 3 is true or false. I'm going to rapid fire them, so that's why there are so many of them.
Okay.
And then we have predictions. Let me just send out one more link to...
Do you want to?
You drive it, so you decide what
All
we
right.
want.
I know you wrote this script before Chip Kelly, so you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
do
no,
it.
no.
Let's
If you
talk
wanna-
Chip Kelly.
If
in
you want to
segment two.
address Chip Kelly in segment 2, we can do that.
All right, let's do that.
I told him
And do you want to talk about Miko?
we can if you want to.
Okay.
I don't really care.
Okay.
Twitter,
You don't care whether we talk about it, or you don't care about the whole thing?
both.
Okay.
If it don't have nothing to do with football, I don't care. I generally don't care. That's
Okay.
my usual opinion.
Okay.
But people want to talk about it, so we'll talk about it. That's what we do on the show. Do we put the hash? Hi. Okay. Are you ready to launch?
Ready over here? You guys ready?
Yes.
Hold on. My phone's on silent.
Welcome to a Week 17 edition of X's and Omar alongside Sentinel Dolphins columnist Omar Kelly. I'm CBS 12 Sports Director Matt Lincoln. One more game left. The season felt over a long time ago, but it will officially be over after one more game and the pain will subside. Dolphins lose another one in tough fashion, 18-12 to Charlie Whitehurst and the Indianapolis Colts.
Where you have former Dolphins, Vontae Davis, Kendall Langford, shining, in their return to Sun Life Stadium.
South Florida Stars, Frank Gore having a huge game.
Absolutely. Classic Dolphin. Classic Dolphin.
Classic.
That's so Dolphin moment.
Even just the way the game went, the defense picking up play at the end of the game, making plays, setting up the offense to win the game, and lo and behold, it does not happen again.
You're at the goal line. You get three opportunities to three opportunities before the unfortunate botched final snap where Jamil Douglas, the makeshift center, decides that he's going to snap it on one, even though the count is two. Rookies make rookie mistakes. That's what happened. That's the line I tell you in any situation. Whenever you're playing a rookie, rookies make rookie mistakes. So you better expect it. It just so happened that he saved his rookie mistake for a 4th and 5 situation with the game on the line. But truth be told, Matt,
yes,
and you know this because you've done this show with me every single week, Jamil Douglas did the Dolphins a benefit, a favor.
Well, certainly.
I'm sure he doesn't feel like it.
No, he doesn't.
But if you actually do this draft right, he will have done you a favor. And if having a top 5 pick in the draft is going to help this organization sell itself to a next prospective coach.
Wow. I'm sure that's not what was going through his
No,
mind.
it's not what's going through his head, and he's still working his way through blaming himself for the loss. But listen, bad play, 4th and 5, there was no guarantee Ryan Tannehill and the offense was going to execute and deliver on that play, considering the 3 passes before that were bad passes.
Well, so that you got Tannehill off the hook.
Yeah.
All those Tannehill lovers could say, oh, well.
Of course, the snap was
It
the
was
fault.
snap was
he
bad.
got sacked 6 times. And truthfully speaking, it was a bad game for the offensive line. He did get sacked 6 times. I have a hard time blaming Ryan Tannehill for anything that happened in that game, even though they were in the red zone 4 times and his offense could not punch it in to interception. A bad call by the referee on Jordan Cameron's touchdown play. These things happen in the NFL. The problem is, when they happen to the Dolphins, they have no way of overcoming it. They cannot overcome it from a coaching standpoint. They cannot overcome it from a roster standpoint, and they cannot overcome it from a from talent standpoint.
Well, you look at all the teams that are in the AFC in the playoffs. Look at the losses that they've had to overcome and are still in the playoffs. All the Patriots receivers. The Broncos and Bengals are both on backup quarterbacks. The Chiefs lost Jamal Charles, their best player. Each one of those teams lost important cogs.
And you know what the difference is? I'm sipping my tea like Kermit. Good coaching and good quarterback play.
And depth. Depth too?
No, good coaching and good quarterback play can mask it. The Patriots are playing with what? Undrafted rookie offensive lineman?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Tom Brady makes it okay. Who's New England's wide receivers? You can't name them. You can't name them.
It's guys like that, right?
Tom Brady makes it okay.
And Bill Belichick.
Jonathan Freeney, who was here for 3 years. I can tell you, Jonathan Freeney doesn't belong on a football field. He's a starter for the Patriots. Starter. Doing pretty well, too. Coaching makes it better.
Let's take a Twitter question from Larry Arroyo. He says, one word to describe the Dolphins. I think specifically the 2015 Dolphins, but the Dolphins.
I want a word from you, too. I'm going to give you my word. I've used it probably for the last 6 weeks. Dysfunctional. That's how they are as an organization from top. Starts with the owner to the bottom. I'm talking about the training room. Hell. Dysfunctional. Everything about this organization right now is dysfunctional. There's no way they can even deny it. Players aren't even trying anymore. They don't believe in their management. They don't believe in their coaching staff. It is a problem from the rooter to the tutor, from the start to the bottom. Dysfunctional. The only organization in the NFL that is more dysfunctional than the Dolphins right this very minute is the Cleveland Browns. And some would argue, and have tried to argue, that the 49ers might be more dysfunctional. But
No,
I say,
yeah, no.
I say, no, Dolphins, number 2 most dysfunctional team in the NFL. And that's going to be a problem for you when you start shopping for your new head coach, and teams like the Indianapolis Colts and the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles are out there shopping for the same coaches. You're going to have a problem convincing somebody to join your organization without overpaying, which is typically what Steve Ross does.
Well, I think that my word would be clueless. Like where are they going? There's no clear way to know who in that building, who in that franchise is someone to build around, to start from, to go with. I have no idea. Dysfunctional is a great word too. Next question, Craig Patterson. Is there any unit that a would-be coach would have any particular faith in at present?
I would start with the wide receiving core. Even though I expect the Dolphins to lose Rashard Matthews at free agency, I think that unit is pretty strong, where you start with Jarvis Landry, you start with Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills will be back, Greg Jennings will not be back. He'll be cut for $4 million cap space. Matt Hazel's the number 3. There's a good starting block there, even if you lose Rashard and cut Greg Jennings. So that's the unit that you have to be probably the most encouraged by. And this is going to be very criticized, but I think the offensive line, when healthy,
Oh, jeez. Okay.
when healthy, think about it. Jawan James was supposed to be back 3 weeks ago. He hasn't been back. He's probably not going to play against the Patriots. Should have been on IR. Wasn't put on IR. Bad mismanagement decision. Bad management of the roster spot. Bad management of the injury. But Brandon Albert, on one leg, is playing pretty good.
Yeah.
Imagine when he gets healthy. Mike Pouncey's been playing with a broken foot. Imagine when he's healthy. Then you get Jawan James, who can't play because of this toe issue. Yes, you're bad when Jason Fox is on the field. Is Jason Fox supposed to be on the field?
No, but like you talked about, you've got
yes.
undrafted free agents who are doing just fine in other places across the NFL. Dolphins don't have any of those guys that can step
You're
up.
correct.
Maybe the Dolphins have 4 good offensive linemen.
4.
They have 4.
4.
That's
4.
not a good unit.
And here's
That's
the thing.
only 4.
Understand that Billy Turner his play has dipped a bit because he's been playing with a quadriceps injury. There's nobody to replace him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to be out there on one leg.
And I think that you could debate on whether or not we'll see a healthy Brandon Albert ever again.
Ooh, I wouldn't say that because he's been playing pretty good right now.
Yeah, pretty good. But we haven't seen a
you're-
healthy Brandon Albert for an extended period of time yet in Miami.
You act like it's so easy to find a left tackle.
Let's take our next question from Ross Moody. Who is to blame for the offensive line this year? Philbin. Oh, actually, I have a follow-up to that last question.
All right.
So I know it's up, but you said by saying that the receivers are the best group. Mm-hmm. Are you? I
don't
would
go
say
there.
running backs.
Don't
I mean,
go-
so you would
no.
think Lamar Miller is not around.
No, I don't think Lamar Miller's around.
Okay.
No.
Ross Moody, who is to blame for the offensive line this year? Philbin, Hickey. Did Philbin influence decision to go with Thomas and Turner?
Plus, they're going to run for 400 yards less than they ran for last year. You can't claim you got a good running game on that. But
That's the offensive line's fault and the offensive coordinator's fault.
okay, so who's to blame for the offensive line this year? Tannenbaum, because Mike Tannenbaum decided that he wasn't going to spend the money for Evan Mathis, who was basically begging you to come play for the Dolphins. And yeah, he landed in a better situation, and he's had an injury-impacted year. But you could have used the healthy Evan Mathis. You could have used it in a run game. You could have used it in a pass-blocking game. When you make decisions consciously about not putting the best team on the field that you possibly could for whatever reason, whether it's money, financial, investment in young players, you're not trying to win. I went into this year, and the first thing I said on X's and Omar is, if you say that you're putting this offensive line on the field and protecting a quarterback with no pocket presence and think that you're trying to win, you're a liar. And look where we are this year.
Having a backup center who's actually snapped the ball before in an NFL career would have been a good idea, too, to build the team. All right, let's move on. Let's start with a Twitter question. We'll start this segment off with more golf. What are the first few roster moves that you'd make when the season is over?
Holy crap.
There's a lot to do, so it doesn't matter where you start. But anyway, I think the question is, what is the most important thing to get accomplished this offseason for the roster?
Okay. I will answer this question by saying the problem with the Dolphins is they lose at the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense. There isn't a starter-worthy defensive tackle on the team outside of Ndamukong Suh, which is why you're about to allow opponents 2,000 rushing yards this season. Worse than last year's bad season. Not blaming Ndamukong Suh, but when you eat up $114 million in cap space, you're also part to blame. Then, offensive line. Struggle of run blocking at times. Really murky pass protection. That you have to win at the line of scrimmage in the NFL to give yourself a chance, to give your players a chance to actually quarterback a chance to actually have some time to find an open receiver and throw the ball a little accurately, not throw it off his back foot. Things of that nature. You got to stop the run to give yourself a chance from a defensive standpoint. Put yourself in third and 8 situations. Now, with that said, everybody in the NFL says the same thing to me. And it's not necessarily about this quarterback. But if you do not have a quarterback that can lead your team to winning seasons, playoff berths, plays big in critical situations, you're not giving yourself a chance. And this quarterback cannot. Has not.
Has not. He has not.
Let me correct that.
He has not.
Has not. In his completion percentage is down. His touchdowns are down. His interception is on par with what he did last year with one more game to go.
We've been talking about third down numbers the whole season.
Third down,
Awful.
fourth quarter, red zone. Bad just about his entire career. Red zone, he's been hot and cold. Third down and fourth quarter, he's been bad his entire career, 4 years. You excuse it as a rookie year because you said, hey, he's a young player. He's only got 19 college games of experience. He'll learn from this. You excuse it a second year, but you said, oh, it's coaching. These are bad coaches. Mike Sherman's coaching.
Receivers weren't any good? He had receiver issues?
No, that was year 3. Year
was
3. Year 3.
Okay.
Receivers were not any good. Now we're going to say again, the offensive line, not any good. At some point, you're going to have to come to the realization that you've got Kevin Kolb as your quarterback.
Yeah, I mean.
At some point, you're going to have to come to the realization that he might be an NFL starter, but he's not a winning quarterback in the NFL. And he can't put a team on his shoulders and carry them to victory. And you saw that last game. While he drove the team down the field and got them to the 5-yard line, and props to him for doing it because I didn't expect him to do it. On the 5-yard line with 3 plays to go, he threw 3 bad passes. And then mishap on 4th and 5. But here's the reality and the truth. More than likely, that pass would have been bad too.
It would have been bad. I mean, if you don't watch just Dolphins games, I'm assuming like most everyone else, you're watching more than just the Fins. You are NFL quarterbacks making big plays at the end of games. Brock Osweiler making huge plays at the end of games against good defense.
Teams haven't caught up to Brock Osweiler yet. Teams have figured Ryan Tannehill out.
Okay.
They know the book. You want to know the book on Ryan Tannehill? Blitz him on critical downs. He won't make it happen.
I'm just saying that you
Force him to throw big.
You see quarterbacks making big plays at the end of games every single week. Guys who are younger and less experienced than Ryan Tannehill is.
Ryan Tannehill did it in 2013, 2 games. He hasn't done it since.
I said I said it on one play in a fourth quarter this season, a winning play, and it was a ball that went off a helmet and just happened to land into Jarvis Landry's hands. That's the only big pass he's made.
And that didn't even
in
win
the
the game.
quarter.
Rashad Jones won the game.
All right. Well, almost to rub salt in the wounds, the team to finish off the Dolphins this awful season is the New England Patriots, who are headed to.
They are more injury decimated than the Dolphins.
They are in serious injury problems all year long, and yet they have a first-round bye. They've won the division a month ago, and now do need this win. They are coming to play because they do not have that first-round, the home field advantage throughout the playoffs booked yet. So how good is this Patriots team?
Not very good, but good enough. When you've got a weak, I don't think there's a team out there that can beat the Patriots. Maybe
in the AFC.
In the AFC.
In the AFC,
Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would give Pittsburgh a chance. but they got to make the playoffs first.
And I don't think they're going to. It doesn't look good for them. The Jets win and they're out at this point.
Yes. And props, I want the Jets to win because I need Brandon Marshall to be able to say he's actually been to the playoffs one time in his career. But
He's deserved it this year.
Huh?
Been a monster this year. It's been great.
he's been a monster every year, except when he comes to the Dolphins. But the Patriots are the perfect example of what happens to an organization when they've got sensational, elite, Hall of Fame caliber coaching and Hall of Fame caliber quarterback play. Because it doesn't matter what parts are around them. They're on their fourth back. We can't even name their starting receivers.
Right.
Offensive line, just put a guy out there. Doesn't matter.
They've got one elite offensive player outside of Brady, and that's Gronkowski, and they did fine when he was hurt too.
And defense, they've just done a sensational job getting, not re-signing their elite cornerbacks. Does it look like there's any drop-off?
No.
I mean, that's sensational coaching. It doesn't hurt to have Gronkowski. It doesn't hurt to have Edelman when he's healthy. But they battled so much injuries and overcome it all. You got to give them the props. They are an elite team.
There's no excuses in Foxborough.
No.
And down here, it seems like there's
nothing but excuses.
Anyway, do you think anyone from the Patriots organization could help? Could they could poach and bring in and maybe turn this thing around?
The Dolphins made a run at Nick Caserio, the Patriots' top executive personnel guy, back when Dennis Hickey got the job in 2014. 2014.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be part of this organization because you wouldn't be allowed to do what he felt was necessary to do, which might involve signing Josh McDaniel as the head coach, firing Joe Philbin. That's part of the problem with Steve Ross is he won't allow the people that he puts in charge to do what they feel is necessary to right the organization. And then you wonder why you continue to do this piecemeal. And we'll do it again. We'll likely do it again. Allow Mike Tannenbaum to now make some changes and maybe he'll change the GM, maybe he won't. He'll certainly change the head coach because Dan Campbell, they've already fired Joe Philbin and Dan Campbell hasn't proven that he could be a good coach. The problem that I have with the Patriots organization, though, taking people from the Patriots organization, is they're propped up by an elite quarterback. I don't trust coaches, including Josh McDaniel, and executives, Nick Caserio. It's great to sign a Jonathan Freeney and put him into the starting lineup because your defense doesn't have to carry that heavy a load. Let's not pretend like you did a great scouting and evaluation job because I like Jonathan Freeney. Love him. Great guy. He's a special teamer at the best.
Right.
Kelvin Shepard runs circles around him. Put Kelvin Shepard in the Patriots situation as starting inside linebacker, he'd probably have 150 tackles. So, you know who makes it all look easy? Tom Brady.
Right.
So, why am I going to give me a coach, a Hugh Jackson, who goes out there and proves he can get it done with an Andy Dalton? Give me a coach who wins without an elite quarterback, like a Todd Haley, who won with Matt Castle. I'm not talking about what he does with Big Ben. Show me a guy who can win with Ryan Tannehill, with Nick Foles, and then I'll tell you that's an elite coach.
And as we talked about before, defensive coaches right now seem to be doing a lot better as head coaches, and that might be where the Dolphins need to go. All right, time to play Omar's favorite game.
Oh.
Call it true or false. If you have some true or false questions and you're watching us live, hang with us. We'll take a little extra in X's and Omar overtime. We've got plenty, though, to hang on right now, so let's get started. You ready? Let's do these as fast as we can. Dave, true or false, this team will learn to keep talent and good players?
Absolutely not. That is false. That has been the history of the Dolphins organization. For whatever reasons, personality, players don't want to be there. They purge good players. Brandon Marshall, Carlos Dansby, Reggie Bush, Vontae Davis, Sean Smith, Brian Hartline. They just, and truthfully speaking, some players don't want to be part of that organization. And I don't have a problem if you don't want to be part of the organization. I don't want you to be part of it either. You might fall into that situation with Brent Grimes moving forward. But truthfully speaking, you cannot continue to dump good players and then try to replace them. And when it doesn't work out, say, well, we tried. Okay, Jamar Taylor, Will Davis, Bryce McCain, Bobby McCain, Tony Lippett, you had Vontae Davis and Sean Smith. While Dolphin fans cried and bitched and complained about them, they were actually good cornerbacks. What have you had since then?
Grimes and not a whole hell of a lot else. I'm going to add this one in. True or false? In lots of talk this week with Brent's wife Miko, true or false? All of that has any impact at all in whether Grimes stays in Miami.
Woo! Oh, true. I think it's very obvious that Brent doesn't want to be here. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't want to be here either. And to be truthful with you, there's more than half of the team doesn't want to be here. And because they feel there's no hope. And while people will destroy Miko for her delivery, mm-hmm. and which was harsh, rude, crude, truthfully speaking, she spoke the truth.
She's not wrong. Okay.
Delivery's disaster.
Speaking about the quarterback in particular. Right?
Yeah.
Her comments about the quarterback?
This team does not believe in the quarterback.
Right. Okay. True or false from Dan B. FinFan. Tannenbaum has a press conference next Monday to talk about the direction that they're going in 2016.
Monday, Sunday. True. And it'll be a whole bunch of lies and put a pretty bow on a piece of turd, and we'll eat it all up, and it'll be great coach speak, and he'll sell you on why he's the right guy in charge of making these decisions moving forward. I don't know if he's the right guy to be in charge of making the decisions moving forward, because he's been here for the last 11 months and his fingerprints are on a lot of things that have gone wrong with this organization that have actually made them regress from an 8-18. And it wasn't like they did these things. When Joe Philbin got here, they did a lot of moves to purge the roster, mm-hmm. to prepare itself for a big free agent run that they were going to make in 2013. And that didn't work either. But they did they sacrificed a lot. This wasn't a situation. They went all in, and it was just all bad.
It's all bad.
Yeah.
So, if there is a press conference on Monday, what do you want to hear from Mike Tannenbaum? Anything? Is there anything that he could say to you that you would go,
Nope.
No? Nothing. Okay. Black by popular demand asks, A.J. McCarron wins a playoff game before Andy Dalton does.
I'm going to have to go with false. Andy Dalton.
Bengals questions now?
I expect, it's important because Hugh Jackson. You're smart. You're watching that Hugh Jackson situation because that's probably the front runner.
Yeah.
And he's got ties to Mike Tannenbaum. He's coached he's had NFL experience as a head coach. He's coached average quarterbacks and made them better. And that's what you need. That's what you need. And he comes from one of the best, because I can't discredit Bill Belichick. He comes from one of the best coaching trees in the NFL, Marvin Lewis, who people have slept on. As I've told you before, I give up a first-round pick for Marvin Lewis. Not this one. Not this one. But I would give up a first-round pick for Marvin Lewis.
We said that we talked a lot about Sean Payton this season, and we said that he might not want to come here.
I would not give up a first-round pick for Sean Payton.
Okay, but he might not want to come here because he's not going to want to be with Mike Tannenbaum. And that issue.
Maybe he will come here because they have a relationship. They've got the Parcells connection. You never know. But Sean Payton will latch himself on to the best quarterback, whether that's Alex Smith or where he used to work in New York Giants, Eli Manning.
Chip Kelly is likely not going to get all the control if he was to come here. Is that something that could keep him from coming here?
Oh, no. One, if anybody in the NFL gives Chip Kelly all the control, they're an idiot, because
we saw what happened this year.
Look what happens.
Yeah.
The one thing I learned about the NFL is ego is an anchor to NFL front offices. Chip Kelly's ego can't fit in this room, and it will forever hold him back. He probably needs to go the Nick Saban route and go back to college where you can be the god.
Right.
You will never be the god in the NFL.
He said he wants to stay in the NFL, and I believe the breaking point in Philly. Yeah. Well, the breaking point in Philly was that Lurie wanted to take all that power away, and he said, that's not going to happen. That's what I want, I want this power, even though DeMarco Murray and Maxwell happened.
All of my bad decisions
blew up in my face.
Okay,
next.
Let's run through these.
True or false? Chandler Bing. The only thing worse than the Dolphins' O-line evaluations are their cornerback evaluations.
Ooh, ouch. I think that is probably true because there's been so many bad cornerbacks throughout this run of life after Vontae Davis and Sean Smith. Brent Grimes is the only one that's actually been decent and good, not decent, good, and they just got lucky on Brent.
Yeah.
But your evaluations of everybody else has been pretty bad.
I don't know. I think it's too early to give up on Bobby McCain and Lippett.
Yeah.
John T, true or false? The Miami Dolphins are in the worst situation they have ever been in.
I'm going to disagree and say that's a false because I covered that 1-15 team, which had no hope, no direction, no leadership, no coaching, no players. This team has players.
A handful.
A handful. The 2015 team, they were decimated by injuries. So it factored in, but coaching was a disaster, just like coaching was a disaster this year. It's very comparable. I'm still going to go back and forth about which season was the worst because 1-15, you didn't have any expectations for that season.
Expectations are big deal.
Expectations were
High,
high here. Goddamn right, according to Steve Ross.
Mike Sullivan, true or false? Will owner Steve Ross get Sue's opinion of any future head coach?
I certainly think so because Sue has a lot of control and influence on that organization. Unfortunately, I'm never comfortable when players have power like he does. But if it sours on whoever's here because Sue doesn't have a good relationship with him, it's not going to work. That's the power. That's the NFL. Players have more power in the league, just like the NBA. Players have more power in the league than the coaches.
And it seems like a huge problem when he's not a leader of his own
Yes.
fellow players. Kenton, does no one else in the NFL world actually believe in Ryan Tannehill as a quality NFL starter?
There are very few people who do believe in him, so that's false. Bill Polian believes in him. There might be, I could tell you, Mike Shanahan believes in him. The QB whisperers, and those who follow me on Twitter know what I mean by QB whisperers. The guys that are like the Sean Payton, the guys that can take like the Harbaughs, that could take an average quarterback, whisper in his ear the things that he should do on every single play, and if he just follows the instructions, they'll be better players. Those are the guys who are going to believe in Ryan Tannehill. If you're not a QB whisperer, this guy's going to get you fired.
Because talent-wise, he's got a lot of things you like about him, but
Yeah.
cojones-wise.
Yeah, 61%
well, not even
completion.
just his ability to perform well in important
When
plays.
you need him to put the team on his back, for whatever reasons, evade a sack, make a throw into coverage, make a big play, take a single safety high and hit that big play, convert on third downs, scramble and run to gain a first down. When
it's not a called run.
Run when it's not a called run. When you need him to make a play that's not designed, not drawn up, not called for, he's not going to deliver for you. And that's the thing people don't understand about the NFL. There are probably, and this is what I learned from executives, there are probably 4 to 5 instances that you have in a game to make a play that decides the outcome of that play. Ryan Tannehill will go 1 of 5. A good quarterback will go 3 of 5.
Right.
Tom Brady will go 4 of 5.
Right.
You have a quarterback that is going 1 of 5. Maybe on a good day he gets 2 of 5. There were 3 plays in your goal line with the game on the line. You had an opportunity to throw a completion. There was one play where Devontae Parker was streaking up the middle of the field. He was open. Tannehill had a passing lane. All he had to do was throw the ball and hope Devontae Parker caught it. He tries to force it into the corner to his blankie, Jarvis Landry. A good quarterback can see that.
Yeah.
He can't.
We talk about the Douglas play, but if that was on 2nd down instead of 4th down, we're probably not talking about it. Just because that play was on 4th down and it ends the game, it becomes
Yeah, the Douglas play wasn't any more critical than the Jarvis Landry play against the Giants. It cost them the game. Both cost them the game. But there were many instances and opportunities that you had before that play to win that game, and even after
for a
that
2nd,
play.
3rd down. Yeah,
That
opportunities.
you just don't. You don't get it.
We got one more for you. True or false? The Dolphins use next year to completely reset and clean house.
I'm going to say false, based on Steve Ross's history. If there's anything that I could tell you that's consistent about Steve Ross is that he is too patient and he makes the wrong hires and wrong decisions with who he should retain and who he should fire. I'm not saying that Mike Tannenbaum should be fired because I do in my heart of hearts do believe that Steve Ross has a better chance to make a good hire with Mike Tannenbaum than without Mike Tannenbaum. That is what Mike Tannenbaum does. That's his lane. He can hire people and close the deal. That is his strength as an executive. That is exactly what Steve Ross needs, which is why I don't have a problem with him being here. However, if you think that Mike Tannenbaum is going to be a good guy running football operations and picking the groceries, you're making a sad mistake.
Okay. Oh, challenge flag.
Okay, so earlier, Omar, you said that, I think you said Tannenbaum was to blame for the O-line
Yes,
problems.
because
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of funny. Miko's cousin challenged you.
oh, Miko's cousin. How do you know she's Miko's cousin?
Well, that's what the name says.
Oh, okay, all right, cool.
So apparently Miko's cousin says challenge, Steve Ross is to blame. He doesn't have football people on staff, just friends and losers.
I mean, everything you could go back and blame on Ross because he hired the guys who are there now.
Here's my problem with Steve Ross's circle of trust. And let me go over the names because they were Mike Tannenbaum, Dennis Hickey, Donna Ponte. Only Dennis Hickey has football experience. Only Dennis Hickey played at a college level at Tulsa. Matt Higgins, throw him in there as well. That's a circle of trust. Even Tom Garfinkel. Nobody played the game. Nobody knows the game. Nobody's able to look at a player at 19 or 20 and be able to tell you that's a talented young man who is going to be a star. None of them could do it. And when you've got Don writing bad deals that lead to heavy cap hits, when you've got Dennis Hickey drafting a roster that's filled with holes because Walt Aikens is struggling, Jordan Tripp isn't on the roster, Terrence Fidei isn't ready, Matt Hazel is just
A dude.
When you've got a roster full of Jags, just the guys, what do you expect? What do you expect other than what you see on the field there?
I don't know. All right, prediction time. Does it matter?
Yeah, it does matter. I'm going to go 32. Let me go with 13.
32-13. I also said something like
Patriots victory.
a
Let me
30-8.
clarify.
I think I have. It's going to be a.
Do you think that in the season finale, what's just called the U-Haul game, because they backed their trucks up ready to get the hell up out of Dodge?
Sure.
Do you think that the Dolphins will even show up and make it competitive? Fourth quarter game.
Not a chance.
Why not?
Because I think the Patriots have something to play for. I think maybe it'll be a competitive first
Dolphins
quarter.
don't have pride to play for? Dolphins don't have their dignity to play
They've
for?
had the last month that they could have shown that they are playing for that, and they haven't.
Their teammates, their coaching staff, do one for Dan.
Hey, we're still waiting to find out who really loves football. We're still waiting on that one.
Oh my God! Somebody
someone out
on that
there
roster
really loves football.
football.
We're gonna find out who that is coming up. We're gonna do one of these next. We're gonna wrap it all up, even though we feel like we've been wrapping it up for the last month. But we're gonna do this next week, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So then we'll see you next week. If you are watching us
Happy
live,
New Year's. Be safe.
Yeah,
Don't drive drunk.
and hang with us. We'll take some more of your questions coming up after this. Thanks for watching X's and Omar.
Ooh, I probably should tell them what extra overtime is. Explain what overtime is. For
you're
those
here.
who are
Oh,
new.
you're still here.
Are you really still here?
Ask us your questions on Twitter using the hashtag XOMAR right now. Or if you're in the chat room watching us, you can ask us right there and we'll pick up some of the best ones. We did skip one during the show that we didn't get to, so as we're setting up here, let's go ahead and get to it. The chefs are the same. This is from Tim Jenkins. The chefs are still the same. Why expect better when they failed during the last head coaching search?
Because you've got a network and a guy a networker, a deal closer, and an executive who's super connected in the agent community, who used to have good head coaches on his roster as an agent. This guy's a deal closer. And Mike Tannenbaum, hopefully he can close a deal on somebody who's actually a good coach. I don't know that. I can't.
If you don't give Chip Kelly all the power, you think he's a good fit here as just a coach?
Yes, because I do believe he's one of the innovative coaches in the game. The problem that I do have with Chip Kelly is the ego. He cannot touch personnel. And he's going to have strife and issues with management, whoever that management is. So you got to be prepared for that, or you got to have a synergy where they work well together. But I think he's an innovative coach. He could possibly help fix a quarterback or get quarterback situation. But there's a reason why he's saying, "Oh, I like that Tennessee job and not that Dolphins job."
And it's not just the quarterback. Well, let's see. What linebackers do you keep? That question is from Private.
I don't think that Koamisi's worth $4 million. I have a hard time believing that if he's cut, that anybody's going to go out there and give him more than $2.5 million. So I would probably purge him. There's nothing special about Koamisi. There's been nothing special about him since 2009. I got criticized when I said that and when he was a rookie. And here we are in 2015, and we're still talking about the same damn thing 6 years later. Kelvin Shepherd. It's a quandary for me because Kelvin Shepherd has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Now he's not that good pass coverage, but he's helped them contain the run a little bit. I mean, with the exception of the one big play that just batters them to death every game, he's been pretty solid. So, and Jelani Jenkins took a step back. Some of that has to do with injuries. It's too early to give up on Jelani Jenkins, so I would probably say Kelvin Shepherd and Jelani Jenkins should be back. But you need to put a tackle-eating inside linebacker on the inside. And I don't know who that is, but if you don't do that, you're going nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think Luke Kuechly is going to be available this offseason.
No, I thought he signed a big deal.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
Is Mike Sullivan, is Tannehill shell-shocked at this point like David Carr was?
No, because he still continues to. David Carr's problem was he never looked down the field because he was so worried about the pressure. Tannehill will always, and I give him credit and props for that. Tannehill will always be looking down the field. That's why he takes so many blindside hits. Yeah. That's why he can't see the pressure or feel the pressure.
He might be bleeding from the inside, and he's still looking down the field. Greg Wood.
He's a tough quarterback, man.
He is a tough dude. He
Tough
is a
dude.
tough guy. It's not his problem. He's got plenty of others. True or false? Marvin Lewis is available if the Bengals lose their playoff game. That's from Greg Wood. I know that's what you want to happen.
I would wish. I could only dream. But I don't know if he would be be part of this organization because I've heard Marvin Lewis call this team a hot mess.
Yeah, well.
And that's a private conversation that's not public, but it is what it is.
You've been building something a long time there. I think he still thinks he's close to winning there at Cincinnati.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't even think he has he's on 1 year deals. He's just sometimes it's good to change. And I would love to see what he does. I would give him full power. I would give Marvin Lewis whatever he wants.
Okay. What is more important? This is from LG. A leader of men or a developer of talent as a head coach?
I would say a leader of men because Joe Philbin developed talent. There was talent that developed under Joe Philbin, but it wasn't good enough. At certain points when you face adversity and struggles, you got to find, what the hell's calling me? You got to, Little Rock. Anyway, you got to find, you got to find a way to emotionally spark them and jumpstart them. And hell, I quit on this team a month ago, and so did the team. Dan Campbell wasn't able to get them going. A leader, and he is a leader of men. That sometimes you got to figure out a way to touch them where they can't or shouldn't be touched, and challenge their pride. And if you can't do that, you don't really belong as a head coach.
And it doesn't mean by rah-rah-rahing and yelling at you.
No,
Bill
no.
Belichick can do it just fine without any of that stuff.
I mean, somebody has to say to Sue, like, listen, you're being paid $114 million to fix this defensive line problems. And I know it's not all on you, but you're not making anybody else on this defensive line better.
No, none of them.
Where are you and what are you doing? Today I was very disappointed in Sue because he's full of excuses. He says the right thing, but he's full of excuses. And I was very disappointed listening to his press conference, one of the few that I've ever listened to this year. And I asked him, because he deflected a lot of questions, I said, you guys have given up more rushing yards than you did last year on a bad defense. Now, you weren't here, but now you've become part of a problem that's actually a worse problem. And what has been the issues and how do you fix it? Well, I don't know because I got to wait and watch film during the off season. And I'm thinking to myself, so that means that every Monday and Tuesday when you're supposed to be watching film and analyzing a problem and dissecting it and figuring out how to fix it, you didn't come up with an answer?
I think
Maybe he's being polite.
we all know what the answer to that question is.
Yeah.
Guys around me aren't good enough, and I can't say that. So I'm just going to say whatever it is because the
Okay.
guys around me aren't good enough.
All right.
Isn't that what that is? Isn't that what that is?
Okay, maybe he took the diplomatic approach. I would just rather you be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, and he'll be criticized for being honest, but I'm sorry. But if you're not telling the truth, you're part of the problem. And yes, it's true. The defensive linemen around you are not good enough. The linebackers around you are not good enough. The safety play, the cornerback play is not good enough. But let's not act like you're not part of the problem. Because you turned on, I watched you on that final drive, turn on the switch and be dominant. On that final drive where you had to get a stop, he was dominant. Made 3 impactful plays that forced the Colts to have to punt. Just turn on the switch and was just like, boom, throwing people out the way, led to a sack, just dominant. You don't play like that all the time. Let's not lie and say that you do. You don't. I got that directly from people who have evaluated and scouted you their entire career because they're advanced scouts. They know what you look like in Detroit. They know what you look like in Miami. And they say there's no comparison to the 2 players. The guy in Miami isn't even trying. He turns it on and off. That's a problem.
So do you think he knows that? Do you think that he knows he's not trying? Or do you think that he thinks in his mind he's doing everything
I think
that
he has a
needs to
helpless
do?
feeling, and when you have a helpless feeling, even though you think you're doing your best, I think I'm writing as good a column as I possibly can. What does it matter?
We were just blathering on for a long time. Let's take some more questions. John K. Cam Wake or Olivier Vernon if both are healthy?
Cam Wake can't stop the run, so I'm going to have to go with Olivier Vernon. Unfortunately, he's younger, but he's not going to be as productive as Cam Wake. And truthfully speaking, I don't know if Cam Wake still wants to be around here. Cam Wake has never played for a winner. He's at the end of his career, and he wants to play for a winner. Cam Wake is not taking a pay cut to be part of the Miami Dolphins. He's owed $8.5 million. And unless you're bringing him back here to play at his present salary, he's going to say, cut me, please.
Juan, does Stephen Ross have a clue that fans think he's a boob? Is he
Yes.
embarrassed at all in front of other owners?
Absolutely knows it. Steve Ross's problem is he cares too much about what people think about him, and fans included. And I wrote a column about this years ago. He's that kid in your class who wants everybody to like him, and he'll buy you lunch. He'll bring you his toys and give them to you. He will make sure that if you don't have a ride home, his mom takes you home. He just wants you to like him. And at some point, you gotta have some faith and conviction in who you are, and say bleep everybody.
Yeah.
And Steve Ross hasn't gotten to that point yet.
Well, because I don't think he's confident enough in his own ability to build a
Yes.
winning football team. And I think that
It's for a very good reason.
and I think it's unfortunate to some degree that being an NFL owner, it's only part of his job is to building a winning NFL team. I think he's done some of the other things very well. He's made a great stadium. The fan experience at Sun Life Stadium, subtract the fact that the play on the field makes you want to throw up. The rest of it is great. It's not the food's fault that makes you want to throw up. It's the
Yeah.
stuff that's going on the field.
The business side, Tom Garfinkel has done a wonderful job.
Incredible job.
Incredible
I
job.
thought,
the stadium his stadium is beautiful. It's magnificent.
all the 50th anniversary stuff.
Oh, man.
First class.
First class.
If you were there, it was a special night to be there.
you know where that's a great example, because the second time around, Tom Garfinkel was actually in the running for the job the first time around when Mike D got the job, and he didn't get the job. The second time around, he got the hire right. This is going to be his second hire as a head coach. Hopefully, prayers. Hopefully, he's figured it out and knows how to get the job done and knows how to make the hire right. Steve Ross's problem is that he can't get the hire right when it comes to the football side. Hopefully, he's figured it out.
Fabian, with Miami going, I can't. That's not English. Let's do a different one. LDR. if Lynch or Cook are not available by the time the Dolphins make their pick,
Okay.
what's your opinion on the Finns using their top draft pick to take VH3, so Hargraves,
Vernon
right?
Hargraves
and then
third.
maybe pick up Dak Prescott in a later round and develop him and promote competition for Tannehill?
I'm very clear. Ryan Tannehill needs competition for the first time in his career. Legitimate competition. Not Matt Moore's here. Matt Moore was good in 2011, but we'll never give him an opportunity to actually play with the starters. So no, legitimate competition. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you sign Sam Bradford. Don't make a difference to me. Make him earn the job. Now, with that said, cornerback is not a priority need for the Dolphins because it doesn't matter. You could put Jesus out there, cornerback. If you don't have any pass rush, Jesus is going to get burnt. It don't matter. Jesus can't cover all day. It don't matter. So you have to fix that defensive line. The defensive line is the root of the defense's problem. They have to get better. However you do that. Possibility Cam Wake won't return because he's making a lot of money and coming off an Achilles injury. Maybe they bring him back and do the right thing. I honestly believe that you got to bring him back because you got nothing else to sell.
Right.
Olivier Vernon is going to want $40 million. $40 million is the running price for Olivier Vernon. Are you willing and ready to franchise tag Olivier Vernon for $14 million?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, so your choices are give him $14 million and tag him, give him $40 million. Which one are you choosing? Or let him walk? Okay, tough decision. You have no answer.
With so much money to sue, it's hard to give that much money to Olivier Vernon.
For a guy who's not even giving you 10 sacks.
Yeah.
So he will get that on the open market. He will.
Good for him.
$35, $40 million. They will get that on the open market. His agent is too good not to get that. But you're going to start all over. Earl Mitchell does not belong as a starting defensive lineman. Jordan Phillips, talent. Is he ready to start? No. You've got one guy in 4 positions. And there's nobody else. There's not even any backups. Hot mess. You got to start there.
All right.
Defensive line.
Shelby. You didn't say Shelby. Is Shelby?
Shelby's a free agent, $2.7 million this year. More than likely, he's going to try to get into the $3-4 million range. I mean, Shelby's an okay player, but is he an NFL starter? I don't think so.
Okay. So of all those guys that we just talked about signing, Wake, Shelby,
OV.
what we believe that their running prices are going to be, you take signing Brent Grimes over any one of those 3, right?
No.
No.
You mean keeping Brent Grimes?
Keeping Brent Grimes.
No, because I fundamentally don't believe that if you keep a player where he doesn't want to be, it's going to end well.
So gut, they're all gone.
There's nothing here salvageable. Nothing. There's nothing here salvageable.
Rashad Jones, Jarvis Landry, and
Rashard Jones, Jarvis Landry.
I want to see Devontae Parker continue to get better, but really,
Rashard Jones, Jarvis Landry. Oh, Mike Pouncey. That's it.
Yeah.
Sad, but that's the reality of it.
Tough to win games with only 3 players. Thanks for watching.
A lot of guys who try hard.
We'll be back again next week
Not good
to
enough.
talk about this team some more. So excited, can't wait to talk
Yeah.
about this team.
Just put this season to bed, please. Put the season down.
Happy New Year. Thanks for watching.